is up, fam? Thank you so much for tuning in to So Real Sports Talk. I got the most entertaining podcast on the planet with me today, the B&E podcast with Brandon and Esteban, who's the E. And, we're going to have some fun today, guys. So today's show is going to be ranking the top players at every single position currently in the NBA. So we'll start with Esteban because you've been missing for a while, man. How have you been, brother?
I've been good, man. I've been good. Working away.
Working
away, bro.
And Brandon, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling good, man. You know, I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having us. We love being on the show.
Hey, man, I love having you guys. This is some Bakersfield representing. Like, this is like the Bakersfield NBA show. Yes, baby. Yes, baby. So,
That's right.
So I'm going to try to keep this as organized as possible. But from the text messages I already saw going back and forth, it's going to be difficult. But I'm gonna try my hardest to keep everybody in line so we can at least have some kind of debate. But if it goes off the rails, guys, I apologize in advance.
Yeah, we apologize in advance.
So we're going to go through every single position. But what I thought we'd do first, just kind of set some rules, is before we go I'm like Yosemite Sam right here, but before we actually list the players that we think are number one, we'll each pick a player at the position that just made the top 5, top 4, top 3, however many we list. That way we could put like honorable mentions. And then we'll debate who's the actual best.
I have some honorable mentions on my list. Look at me.
All right,
already ahead of the game. I already knew what was happening. Damn,
great baldies think alike. Great baldies think alike. Esteban with your hair.
Connection.
It's weighing me down is what it's doing, bro.
All right, so I wanted to start out with, just so that there's some kind of like understanding of people watching, what is our rubric? So we'll start with you, Esteban. When you picking your best players, what do you value the most as far as who is your best player?
For me, it's how they impact the team in the last 4 minutes of a tight game.
Ooh.
Pretty much. Like that's whoever's whoever's on this floor, whoever you can see on the floor in the last 4 minutes of a tough game, and you trust them. That's how I do it, and their impact and what they do and how they do it at their position.
Okay.
That's what I go by. Yeah.
I like that. So we're going clutch gene for Esteban as far as who he thinks is the best. What about you, Brandon? What's kind of your rubric? What are you looking for when you decide this is the best player?
I think mine is just basically it's just eye test, right? Like, do I like watching this person play? Are they having an impactful, or are they impacting the game in a positive way? And what kind of heart do they got? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't like chumps. I'm like, can I say bitches this early? Can we just start
absolutely. Do it, bro. It is what it is.
All right, good.
And when he says bitches, he means female dogs. So,
yeah, the correct term of it.
Yeah, but no, I think both of you guys' rubric is good. For me, it's going to be impact on the team. So, like, I'm looking for the MVPs, right? Everybody on this list is probably going to be the best player on their team. And so I'm looking for, if this person is removed from their team, this team is pretty much falling apart, along with, based off of how much for like scoring, all that kind of stuff, how they impact the team. Cool. So I thought we'd start big first, right? So we'll go with centers. And so why don't we start, Esteban, we'll start with you. What's one center that you feel like should be considered as one of the best in the league?
Jokic.
Okay. I like that. Why exactly?
It's not necessarily on the defensive end, but I feel like he just he impacts the game in more ways. I mean, he's his knowledge and his IQ, and I don't feel like he's a negative on defense. He knows what to do and where to be. He's not sliding his feet and guarding a dude on the perimeter for sure. But
he's not meeting somebody at the rim.
No, he's not. But he'll be in the right spot. He'll get a few picks. Yeah, that's true. But his offensive prowess and the way he's a floor general at the center position. So And what he did with Denver last year, it was awesome. It was uncanny. So
and league MVP, so he's got to be considered.
Yeah.
What about you, Brandon? Who's somebody that you're considering on this list?
Well, I thought we were supposed to start off with like our honorable mentions first, and then work our way up to like our number one pick. So are you saying that's your honorable mention, like, or is that your number one
this
pick?
is just people that we're considering, people that are on the list for us to debate.
Oh, names out, bro.
Oh, okay. So the way I did my list was I ranked up 2, 3, and then had a couple of honorable mentions. Like, so I didn't know.
Whoever you consider, man, just throw one out. We'll get to all of those.
We'll say Embiid. We'll throw Embiid out there then. Yeah. Okay. I mean, so he actually plays both ways. I actually prefer Jokic over Embiid, but Embiid is a two-way player. He just can't show up in the fourth quarter yet. He's working on it, though. He's going to get that conditioning right. You know what I mean? But he's going to lock down your defense. He's going to give you that best of both worlds. And so that's why Embiid should be ranked up there.
Yeah. To add to the list, I'm going to put Bam Adebayo from Miami. I think very similar. He's one of those power forward centers, but he plays mainly center for Miami, so I put him on the list for center. Once again, a two-way player. Obviously had some phenomenal defensive plays. 2 years ago in the playoff run where they made it to the finals. Obviously, a double-double type machine. So for me, he's somebody that we need to talk about as well. Anybody else that you guys have, Esteban? Let you guys jump in.
Oh, DeAndre Ayton for sure. I think he showed what he was about in these playoffs. So I would. He's a rim runner. He's got a nice touch. If he could fix his hands around the rim when he gets the ball passed to him, I feel like he's going to be a dangerous player the years to come. Nice.
Anybody else, Brandon, that was on your list?
I put Draymond on there, actually. Similar for the same reason. I mean, he's a super impactful guy, right? But just totally on the defensive end. But he plays center for the Warriors.
Like, oh my God! Here we go. Yeah, it already began.
My honorable.
It's the first 6'6" center that's ever been mentioned in a center.
Hey, he's got rings though. He's got rings though. Something these other centers we were mentioning don't have.
That's fair.
My honorable mentions though were Taco and Boban. Like, why aren't we putting out these giants, right? Like, why aren't they getting more run? If Boban had better hands,
they're not even the best people on their own.
That's all.
They're not even getting minutes on their own team. So why would they be the best in the NBA?
I mean, isn't basketball about playing the tallest guy out there? Like, and you're not even going to put Boban out there? Like, just let him be tall.
That's not what it is.
That's not what basketball's about, bro.
The only other. So I
with him in 2K.
All my joke picks, I'm not even going to say because Brandon's bringing jokes and they're actually people, guys, that he believes. Like JaVale McGee might make this list for Brandon because he was his favorite pickup in
Best pickup in free agency.
The only other person seriously that I think could be at least considered, obviously injuries plays a role as far as why I don't think he'd make the best list is Karl-Anthony Towns out of Minnesota. We obviously know he has the talent, and if he is healthy, he's a beast. But the problem is he never stays healthy. So I think that's a good.
That guy's weak.
All right. I mean, he went through a pretty tough year, my dude.
Make my list. I mean,
pretty tough year,
this year. You know what? And that's fine. I get all that. But before all that happened, though, Jimmy Butler is going into practice. Let me take the third string guys and just destroying them. So I'm sorry, I can't with that.
All right.
I do feel for him in all other aspects. Though. Sorry.
Relax. So let us debate. All right. So I think we got a pretty good list. So Esteban, we'll start with you. Who is the best center in the league right now?
Jokic. And I don't think it's. I mean, it could be debated for sure, but I feel like Jokic is the best one. He just gives you so many options. So I would take Jokic right now. Number one.
What about you, Brandon?
I'm not even. Yeah, that's Jokic. Like, West, he's taking his team to the playoffs, and I mean, if you look outside of once Jamal Murray went down, like that team's really not that deep. Aaron Gordon can't score. He's a really good defender and whatnot. Like, he can guard big, small guys, whatever. So he helps out there, but he's not a scorer. Jokic had to do everything to make everybody look that much better. So I'm going Jokic.
And Jokic is a player too that in the playoffs his numbers actually do get better. So he's made for that. Yeah, he's made for that kind of.
And even though he looks out of shape, he goes hard the whole time.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree with both of you guys. For me, it's the process,
I can see
and that's Joel Embiid. Like, I know you guys say, oh, he's choked in the fourth quarter and all that kind of stuff, but the type of numbers Joel Embiid put up this playoffs were phenomenal. Clearly, that team has underperformed, but I think you could say the same for the Denver Nuggets. They're always top 3 finishing off in the regular season, and they still haven't really done anything in the playoffs. Yeah, but I mean that's nothing. How did that go for them? How did that go?
Yeah, but I mean they got there though, right? Like where's Embiid been? Not there.
Absolutely.
He couldn't even get past the Hawks because he stopped playing in the fourth quarter.
For me, I think that he has a bigger impact, even though Jokic, obviously MVP, has a phenomenal impact for the Denver Nuggets. I don't think, and could be said obviously for Denver as well, I don't know if Philly even is a contender if Embiid's not on that team, right? Even with the talent that they have there, I think he actually makes these guys look better just because of how much importance people put on him. He's always getting double teamed, so on and so forth. I would give the nod to Jokic as far as playmaking, but when it comes to defense, when it comes to scoring, I'm giving it to Embiid. So that's 2 out of 3 of the factors I'm looking at. So I'm going Embiid as my top center in the league.
That's fair.
Sure, if you want to win 3 quarters, that's great.
I was just saying, like,
neither of them are winning, bro, unless they go to the Lakers. So I mean,
that's for sure.
All right, so you know what? The one thing that's kind of funny is none of us put Rudy Gobert on this list.
No, Goober ain't going on this list. No, Goober's horrible. I don't care what he did in the World Cup or whatever. He's trash.
It's called the Olympics, but okay.
That's the thing nobody watches.
Oh my gosh!
Look, all of the takes from Brandon Campbell are solely those of Brandon Campbell. So Real Sports Talk TV does not. So Real Sports Talk TV does not agree or condone his comments. Just want to put it out there, just in case.
Neither does one half of the B&E podcast either. So.
He says that now, but wait till we get on the pod. He'd be like, "You right."
Oh man! All right, so I think this one's a little bit tougher to debate. I think the power forward position is very deep in the NBA, and this is a position where a lot of the faces of the league are actually in right now. So. Let's start with Brandon this time. Brandon, who's in contention on your list?
Giannis, of course.
Absolutely.
The guy straight off his finals MVP run, just crushing my poor sons. It hurts.
Absolutely. What about you, Esteban?
But I mean, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go. We're going to debate it. So
good. Yeah.
I put KD.
Absolutely.
Really?
He was a toenail away from making Giannis leave the Bucks or get traded, and for a coach to lose his job. So yeah, that's KD for sure.
To me, those are like the top 2.
I thought KD was a 3, but what else?
Nah, he a 4.
Nah, he a 3. You don't play 2K currently because he's always a 3. But no big deal. No big deal. No big deal. No big deal.
Brandon, who else you got on the list?
Well, I guess I thought Esteban was actually going to say it. I got AD on the list.
Yeah, that was my next one.
I just needed you to say a Laker, so that's why I said it.
I did not want to say it. I was like, yes, you're going to say the Lakers. I had to fucking say it.
I needed to make sure you had to say that. So
that's fair.
Anybody else, Esteban, you could think of?
No, I put those 3 were just. I feel like it's Giannis, KD, and AD, and then it drops off after that for me.
I mean, there's some spot was super hard, right? Like I'm sorry.
There's some guys like Christian Wood, but they're not there yet.
No.
Like there's some guys with talent that obviously show out, but when it comes to like the most elite, you got to put. I think we're just debating these three, right? So, so let's talk about it. We started with Esteban last time. Brandon, who is the best power forward in the league?
Giannis. I mean, he's the best player in the league right now. We've talked about this, or at least my thoughts on it. Like once you come off winning a championship right now, like that belt is yours until somebody takes it from you. And so now it's currently Giannis. That's it. Done.
And
I think Esteban is going a different way. So Esteban, why is KD the best power forward in the league?
No, I wouldn't say that. Before I would have. Giannis did something in these playoffs where it was crazy how, and I think and not to get ahead of ourselves, but I feel like a couple of Giannis and Trae Young in these playoffs just kind of figured stuff out. And when they did that, it just put them on a different level. And I feel like Giannis, when he figured out how to get rid of the ball out of a double team, how to not shoot when they're fouling them, so he didn't have to shoot the free throws, how he just figured out different angles to attack. It was just kind of like he unlocked something, and I'm really anxious to see if he continues it this year. KD is not far behind him. I think KD is one of the most incredible basketball players that's ever lived. But as for right now, Giannis is there. Man. Yeah, you got to take it from Giannis, and I don't think he's going to give it up very lightly. So
right.
Yeah.
I really want to say AD because I'm a Laker homer, but it's Giannis by far. And I don't think it's really – I think he separated himself quite a bit. Out of those three, all three of those guys have chips. However, all chips aren't valued the same. And Giannis's chip is definitely the most valuable out of those three just because of who he did it with and who he beat, right? He went through the Nets. Now, obviously, the Nets weren't the Nets because Kyrie wasn't there. But he still went through a very talented East. And he dominated. There's really no way of stopping him. The things that people used to do to be able to stop him was like fouling him and, forcing him to shoot. He's been able to elevate his game to a point where obviously he's not necessarily considered a great shooter, but, he finished off game 6 with shooting 80-90% from free throw line, really clutch 15 for 17 or whatever it was. And he's not hindering his team in any way. And, and he's available, right? Based off of that, he's playing every single day. He's not resting. And, you talked about it, Esteban, the clutch gene. Brandon, you put it, you don't like any softies. Out of pretty much anybody in the league, the mentality that I feel like Giannis has as far as like wanting to win one in Milwaukee, staying there, signing the long-term contract, doing it with guys who aren't necessarily considered superstars, although they are, great players or good players. To me, he's the total package at this point. And he's only 24, like 25, like he's only ascending and he's younger than all those other power forwards. So I imagine he's going to be number one for quite a while. Knock on wood, injury wise, he stays healthy because I think he could go down as one of the greatest players of all time with with his work ethic, mentality, and, how he's positioned himself so early in his career to already be a finals MVP.
I agree.
So I want to touch on a couple things both of you guys just said right there. One, I'm going to start with you, Sunil. The fact that you didn't mention that Giannis had to go to the Suns, who beat your Lakers, hurts my heart. Right? I just want this out there right now.
He didn't beat my Lakers. He beat the B squad.
He beat the Lakers. He beat the Lakers. After LeBron was doing all his little shimmy on Jay Crowder. Jay Crowder went out there and shut him up. So the Lakers were done there. And
did you say Jay Crowder shut somebody up?
Yeah, he shut up LeBron. He shut up King James. That's why King James didn't get any votes for
best player.
Best player in the league right now. He said, I got new fuel for my fire. No, you suck. Get out of here. I'm just kidding. You're not that bad.
If anybody wanted to know what Brandon is drinking, it's called Haterade. It comes in very many flavors.
It only comes in his flavor. I don't understand that.
I think you could get it at Costco. So look out for that. And go to Brandon's website. He's selling it all day, every day.
Also, the other thing I wanted to touch on was like what you said about what you said, Esteban, about Giannis figuring it out.
Mm-hmm.
That the passing out of the foul was one of the smartest things I've ever seen in basketball. Like that was some ingenious level stuff, and so yeah, that's it. That was just great stuff, man. Yeah.
Shows a lot of basketball IQ, right? So that's something that I think is extremely important.
10 years.
Yeah. And you got to give, I mean, I think, obviously this isn't one of the topics, but that Milwaukee organization has done great. I think Coach Buden, whatever, is Coach Bud. He always was like the butt of everybody's joke. And he's always been like, even when he was at Atlanta, he was having them achieve. Then with Milwaukee, he's been able to now take them to win a chip. I think the coaching and the X's and O's and stuff like that, it's just a good fit there in Milwaukee. They're going to be pretty tough to beat for a long time. I imagine them being there with the Nets for a long time, that being the rivalry in the East over the next decade or so.
God, it's October 19th, man. I can't wait. Can't wait to see that game.
Yeah. So let's get to it. This one I think is going to be one of the spicier ones. Let's go with small forward. Esteban, we'll put it on you, man. Who's somebody in contention?
Bron.
All right.
Bron's going
LeBron.
to qualify, yeah.
LeBron. All right. Brandon, who do you think?
Jason Tatum.
Okay. Jason Tatum.
I had him too.
Doesn't he play power forward?
Jason Tatum? No, he's listed as a 3. He's listed as a 3.
He's listed as a 3.
Okay. Jason Tatum. I'm actually going to go out of the box too. I'm putting Jimmy Butler on the list. He's somebody who I think is probably the most underrated player in the NBA. And to me, he's a winner. It's only just a matter of time. He gets in the right situation, and he's going to be showing out and getting the respect he deserves. So I put Jimmy on the list. What about you? Back to you, Esteban.
Kawhi still got it. He's still tough, and he showed before he was hurt during the playoffs, and that when he had a burst of speed, he was fast and he could still lock up. And his IQ is awesome. So Kawhi's good.
Okay. What about you, Brandon?
So I didn't have this guy on my list, but since Esteban just took the one that I was about to throw out there, and I forgot all about him until right now, mainly because he's the most brittle man in basketball, is Gordon Hayward. That guy, when he's healthy, he can ball out, man. Like,
oh yeah, he's fun.
Everybody laughed at that Charlotte contract. I mean, I laughed at it when he first got it, but then when he got there and they started playing, he proved that he was worth every dollar of that. And then, of course, he got injured, and
now he's not worth it.
I mean, that's an interesting way to put it. Worth every dollar while he's not playing.
Yeah, just like Embiid's worth it for 3 quarters. If you could just get somebody to play for him in the 4th.
Wow. Yeah, I'm not really thinking about anybody else. I mean, there's certain people that I think are slipping my mind. Go ahead, Esteban. You got anybody else that's on your list?
I don't. I had Bron, Kawhi, and Tatum. Honestly, and then Jimmy was my my honorable mention.
What about you, Brandon? Anybody else?
No, I just had Kawhi, Jimmy, and Tatum.
Yeah.
Yo, and once again, Haterade on sale at any place that Brandon is available.
Oh my god,
he will sell it to you.
I'm just kidding. I wrote LeBron down too. I wrote him down too.
All right.
Can I ask a question? What would it take? What would it take Brandon Ingram to crack the list? Does he have to be?
Think about him.
Yeah, does he have to be like more consistent? Are we talking about like maybe he has to play a little bit harder on the defensive end, or what do we think? Because I think he's there, but
he has to take his team to the playoffs in my book. Like,
okay,
he has to be able to have that Pelicans team contending in the West, and they just aren't right now.
Right.
So everybody has them as the hype, right? Because they got Zion, Ingram.
Right.
They should be playing better than they are, but
they're about to lose Zion.
Yeah,
hey, that's crazy that none of us mentioned Zion as being like one of the better. I didn't even consider him at all. Yeah.
I mean, one guy that I think Julius Randle we missed too, but
Randle's on my list.
Way to say it.
But you didn't do the second round like you just did for small forwards.
Okay. I asked,
Come on,
is there
man.
anybody
You're
else?
right.
Yeah.
No, you
I
didn't.
straight
No,
asked, is
Yeah.
there anybody
Run
else
the
that's
tapes.
on your list?
Run the tapes.
We will. What do you want to bet? What do you want to bet, Brendan? You know, this is on TV. Like, this is something that I will timestamp it, cut it, clip it,
this right
put it
now.
on your Instagram so
we're
that you
betting a
can
12
see.
pack. We're betting a 12 pack right now. Put
All
that
right,
on there.
so let's talk about it. Small forwards. We'll start with you, Esteban. Who is the best small forward in the league right now?
LeBron James.
Okay, and why? I mean, obviously, you know, playoff-wise, didn't perform the best as far as taking his team where they needed to take. But why do you still feel like he is the best small forward in the league?
The things that he does on the court, his IQ, his passing ability, he's still able to run faster than anybody else down the court. He can bang down low. He's got his jumper's getting better. He's still looking for ways to improve his game, honestly, and he's still a great basketball player. That's all. He's just a great basketball player with a high IQ that can affect the game in like an uncanny amount of time, like a number of ways. So, yeah, Bron's the best small forward.
Brandon, what do you think? Here we go. Man. Did he pour out the cup? Did he pour out the cup?
I did. I can't, man. I mean, it's LeBron. Like, there's no way you can get around that, right? Like, the things that he does, as unstoppable as that guy is, like, it's very rare anymore that people are afraid of people in the playoffs, right? But, like, you don't count LeBron out once he gets in there. You're just like, he's going to get through it. He's going to figure it out because that's what he's always done. I think this year was just a little bit different just because of injuries to him. I don't even consider AD's injury that big of a deal for him. I think if he wouldn't have ran into the buzzsaw that was the Suns and he would have played anybody else, he probably would have won.
I like how you're the one that can't say that with a straight face. Like, that's the best part about that whole comment.
I look at Shadil's face when I
said he never used that word ever in his life.
What?
The buzzsaw.
What? No, I use that word all the time. It's like my regular vocabulary. I'm just like, oh, it's a real buzzsaw today.
Yo, I can see Brandon just sitting around the table. Man, that's a real buzzsaw.
Oh, this tax return, it was a buzzsaw for tax return.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's
hilarious. Go on, though.
But yeah, so I honestly forgot where my point was going.
He ran into the buzzsaw of the Suns.
The buzzsaw of the Suns. Like, so if he had played anybody else, he probably would have figured it out and been able to get through. But you know, he just couldn't get through the Suns. And then, that's it. LeBron.
I also say LeBron, but I'm going to put this caveat. LeBron is vulnerable. I think the issue is at the small forward position, there's not enough consistency of play from guys that are capable of overtaking his position. And I think that's really what it boils down to. You know, a guy like Taysom, I was about to say Taysom Hill. I'm like in football.
I know.
I was wondering what was happening right
Tatum,
now.
A guy like Tatum, you know, clearly has the talent, still needs some more playmaking ability to kind of contend. But, you know, consistency is, you know, needs to be there as far as every single day, game in, game out, being able to put up the type of numbers and put the team on his back and have them actually succeed. Jimmy Butler, I think, is close, but you know, he just needs some help, man. He is so tired in the fourth quarter that he's like, you know, basically like dry heaving just because of how much he has to carry his team. Kawhi clearly could be in that position, but you know, his injury and his health is constantly keeping him out of games. So by default, not that LeBron isn't playing well, but I don't think that he's necessarily head and shoulders over everybody else as far as talent and ability. I think he's just figured out a way to stay healthier and more consistent, which is why these guys are, you know, he's still, you know, elevating himself to be number one. But I can imagine if, you know, guys like Jimmy, Tatum, and if Kawhi could ever stay healthy, you know, it'd be more of a debate. And, you know, maybe we knock off LeBron and, you know, he's on the second team or the third team.
It's kind of crazy to think about that, though. Like you say, like he's not head and shoulders above talent wise. And I'm sure that these guys can, but for LeBron, and I am a self-proclaimed Bron hater myself, and I never really liked the way he played. But to his credit, his consistency and his, he averages at least 27 a year, every year. He gets 8 boards every year. He gets at least 6 or 7 assists every year, and that's his stat line throughout his almost his whole career. And I just don't see any other. I don't see Kawhi or any other small forward being able to do that year after year after year.
But what's interesting is we're not talking about year after year. We're just talking 1 year, right? We're talking who's the best right now. That's fair. History doesn't necessarily play as big of a role because obviously Giannis is the best player right now. But if we talk about just history, obviously LeBron's history is going to be better than Giannis. But Giannis right now is the best player in the league. Sorry, Brandon, I know you were about to say something.
No. I was just going to say, but I think what it does though, right? Because I almost wanted to say Kawhi too, but you don't know if Kawhi's going to show up every night, right? And so you can't count on that. But the one thing you can count on is LeBron's going to show up, right? He's going to be there night in, night out. He doesn't take what do they call those? What do they call these days?
Nights off. Maintenance days.
Off, maintenance days, whatever. I thought there was another term they were using, but whatever. Yeah, he doesn't do that anymore. So I think that's when Esteban's throwing out old numbers and stuff like that. I think it's because of the consistency is more what he's going for. I could just be wrong. I don't know.
I mean, I sometimes the stat thing can be deceiving. I know obviously LeBron. His usage is a lot higher than any of these other players that he's being compared against. So he's obviously going to get more stats. It's kind of like saying Russ, right? Russ has better stats than probably any other point guard when you talk about consistency and triple doubles and all that kind of stuff. However, I don't think anybody's putting him as the best point guard in the league. So I think stats does play a role, but it's nuanced.
You haven't seen my list yet.
It's nuanced. But I think we all agree, right? We all agree that LeBron is the best small forward in the league right now. So if you guys are keeping track, at center, we have either Joel Embiid or who do you guys
first of all, I think we should go with the most consensus.
The Joker.
I mean, I get you get an extra vote because it's your show. But,
so it's my show. So it's Joel Embiid at center. Power forward, we had Giannis. Small forward, we have LeBron. So let's move on to shooting guard. And Esteban, throw out a shooting guard that you were considering on this list.
I'm just going to throw this out there and say that I don't like any of the shooting guards in the NBA.
Wow.
I am just not for this group of guys. And what?
Okay,
I feel like there's not shooting guards anymore, right?
I think I think there is, but I just don't. I don't trust any shooting guard in the league right now. Like Harden.
Okay, well,
Harden's a great one.
I'll start.
Harden's a point guard.
I'm putting Donovan Mitchell on the list. So Donovan Mitchell to me is one of the best shooting guards in the league right now. So he is somebody that I considered on the list. Esteban, without totally ruining this,
I know. I'm so sorry.
Of the show,
I'm so sorry. I said James Harden.
Okay, James Harden.
James Harden.
How are we gonna forget Klay Thompson? Just because he's coming back this year, baby.
We didn't forget him. You just said him.
No, but you weren't even. You were like, oh, I don't know what to say. Like, what do you mean? It's Klay all day. All day.
I hope to God you're right, but after an ACL and an Achilles, it's just
he's coming back. He's a shooter. He ain't a dunker.
Yeah,
it's fine.
I'm praying.
I'm putting.
He don't even need a dribble.
Here we go. I am putting Devin Booker. Obviously, on the buzzsaw of the Suns that took out the Lakers and got to the finals this year. Obviously, he's one of the best two guys in the league as well. Esteban, anybody else you can think of?
Paul George. He proved a lot last year. Yeah, Paul George.
I agree. Brandon?
How many more? I've got two more.
Go ahead.
CJ McCollum and Jaylen Brown.
Yep. I was gonna say Jalen. So I think we're just naming some guys that are the good shooting guards. I don't think CJ McCollum is on anybody's top 3 point guards in the league right now. But let's talk about it. So Esteban, out of the list, or let's start with Brandon because Esteban almost ruined this segment.
I did. I'm so sorry.
Brandon, of the guys that we just named, who would you say is the best two guard in the league?
I'm gonna go with Klay Thompson. The position is
the only two guard that didn't play at all that season.
Yeah, and that's fine. We're talking about this season. He's gonna play this season, so let's talk about it. From my my shooting guard position, I want him to be able to shoot, and he's a knockdown shooter, right? Like he doesn't need to dribble, he doesn't have to dunk. Even though I kind of like my two guard to dunk a little bit, I like him to be a little uber athletic. He's not that way. He's a knockdown shooter, lockdown defender as well. You know what I mean? And he doesn't need the ball. He's not going to try to take over the offense and run it. He's going to go out there and do what's best for the team to win. And talk about heart. That guy is just full of it.
Esteban, what do you got?
Yeah, that's fair. I would say, oh my God, I hate it. I would say James Harden. But he is a phenomenal basketball player. Honestly, he is a phenomenal basketball player. And some would say he's a point guard like Brandon, but that's not what he's listed at. But he can a knockdown shooter, can create his own shot, can
distribute.
Yeah, he can do anything on the basketball court. He's really, really good.
When you're dribbling the ball for 23 out of the 24 seconds, you kind of can do whatever you want on the court. Like,
that's fair.
He's got all the time.
Listen,
in the world. He's got all the time in the world. He's got all the time in the world.
He's really good.
And I kind of understand Esteban's point because we're used to the two guards that are two-way players that were ferocious on defense as well as on offense, and that's kind of changed. Obviously, Klay, I think, is one that's on the list that plays both ways. Jaylen Brown is another guy that plays, both ways. But when we think of greatest two guards, we're thinking Jordan, we're thinking Kobe, we're thinking, these type of elite on both ends of the floor. And there's not really that type of player as, in the league right now, I would say, at the two guard, which is disappointing because that always was the debate. Dwayne Wade obviously is another guy. But I'm going to go with, just because I think he's the best player that's playing right now in this position, I got to go with Esteban and say James Harden, right? So out of all of those guys, James Harden to me can carry a team. We've seen what he's been able to do when he was with Houston. We saw, even with the Nets, like his ability to just move into more of a distributor type role and, turn into turn into that point guard, point two guard, kind of play. I mean, him and Kyrie are kind of just interchangeable at that position. But I think that is a talent that is unmatched by anybody else on the list, right? So where Klay is a better shooter, he's not as good of a distributor, where Jaylen Brown might be a better defender, he's not as good of a scorer, right? So there's weaknesses everywhere else where I think, James Harden, obviously defense is his biggest weakness, but, he was serviceable. He wasn't getting blown out like he used to do. Like he's putting in more effort and, he's at least not negative on defense anymore.
Right.
Like he used to be. So to me, he's, by far the best two guard in the league right now. Brandon, I feel like you got something to say with those eyebrows. Crushed up.
Sorry, you can see.
I got a few things. One, I guess you're right? Like and maybe it's just because we're showing our age a little bit, but when I think of two guards, I think of Kobe and I think of Jordan. Like those are our prototypes, our models, and none of the guys right now in the league kind of fit that mold anymore. Like it's just it's because basketball's gone in a different direction, which is fine. But that's what made doing this list hard when you said, no, we're going to specifically pick positions, right? Because I look at people like Harden, I'm like, nah, he's kind of more of a point in my mind, right? Because he does always have the ball. Mitchell, you
can say that about LeBron too, right? So
yeah, exactly. You could put LeBron there. You could even put Jokic at some kind of point guard position because he gets the ball off the rim and he brings it up. Right, like he's the guy initiating the offense, which is what the point guard's job is to initiate the offense. So So that changed things a lot. It made, like I was saying, it made this list hard. It almost made me want to rank Booker up higher because of that, right? Like because he almost is in that same mold. Like him and
really
Jaylen Brown actually are the closest that we're going to get to seeing that type of player. Not saying that they're on the same level of Jordan or Kobe at all. I'm not saying that, but from what we were looking for from our two guard, those two guys kind of fit that the best.
Yo, Booker, just to piggyback off of your point, Booker's defense in the playoffs was real. I mean, he was trying to play defense. No, he was sliding his feet. You know what I mean? So yeah, I feel.
And he had the Mamba mask on and all that kind of stuff. So he was trying his best to be. He was trying his best to be Kobe. I think a guy that we're not really mentioning too much is Spida. I think Donovan Mitchell is, if based off of who his competition is at this position, Utah is nothing without him there, right? He's their engine that kind of drives them. I think he's a phenomenal scorer. Weak on defense, but you could say that pretty much about most of these two guards.
I don't think Mitchell's that weak on defense, though. I think he's better than he's not better than Clay. He's not better than Jaylen Brown. But I think he's kind of up there in like the Booker range. He turns it up when he needs to. He can play defense, but when he's asked to carry more of the offensive load, and the only reason I don't have him more up there is because I think he's almost like CJ McCollum. Like he could probably play point for them, and maybe he should. Maybe he should always have the ball in his hand because his shooting's not quite there yet, right? Like it's better. It looked really well in these playoffs.
Yeah,
he's a scorer more than a shooter.
Yeah. He almost looks to me like a scoring point guard, right?
Yeah.
And that's the only reason I don't rank him higher on this list in terms of like two guards. But I agree with you. Like he's so good. I love Mitchell. They should get rid of Goober.
I think that the problem with him is that
Goober for Simmons.
The problem I think with him is that Utah is just disappointed so much. They've been the back-to-back 1 seed and they just flame out in the playoffs each year. Another guy we could have talked about is Bradley Beal. I know, Brandon, you hate him, but he's another good two-way player. But I think we all agree James Harden because Clay isn't even on the floor right now.
I don't agree with that at all. I don't understand
Clay isn't even playing for the last 2 years. He's clearly not the best player in the NBA right now.
He's the best.
And he's not going to come back until after Christmas.
That's right. He's going to come back and be the best. That's fine.
I hope. I
heard that last year too, and what happened. To be determined with Clay, but right now it's James Harden. All right, so what I think is the deepest position for this and why I saved it for last, the point guard position. So I think, just like we were talking about, the point guard position has changed this in the league right now. The point guards that we grew up with as far as like mainly distributors, mainly guys that like were the quarterback of the team. There's only a few of those still left in the league now. These guys are more scorers and things like that. But Brandon, we know who you're gonna say, so go ahead and just say it.
No, I want you guys to go first. Hold on.
All right, I'm gonna say it. We're gonna go with Steph Curry is the somebody that I think should be on this list. What about you, Esteban?
Can I say Steph Curry twice? Because that's the only one we need to mention right now. No, Luka Doncic is coming. Okay. He's coming, bro.
Brandon, what about you?
So I won't call you this because it's your show, but S1, you're a stupid bitch. And there's only one point guard, and it's the point god, Chris Paul. That's it.
Oh my god,
that's all there is.
Is he the one that lost in the finals this year? I didn't know. Is that the one?
I don't know. They beat the Lakers to get there.
Here we go.
I don't know.
B squad, bro. Big squad.
Yeah, the B squad.
They got the Hobbit.
So LeBron's not the best small forward. That's all there is. Yeah.
So if you guys want a commercial for what the B&E podcast is like, you're seeing it right now. It's really just two best friends kind of just annoyed with each other the whole time.
Kind of. I'm super annoyed right now.
Not kind of.
I'm going to go with it's Dame time. Damian Lillard is definitely on the list as well. Esteban, who else you got?
Trae Young.
Yup. Ice Trae. Definitely got to be on the list.
Yeah.
Brandon, anybody else?
No, that's it. I mean, we've named every. I had Chris Paul, Steph Curry, Luka, Dame, and Harden.
Okay. Kyrie, not Kyrie.
Trash.
Kyrie don't make the list?
Nah.
What about Kyle Lowry?
Nah. It's kind of messed up. I mean, he probably should, right? Like he's actually fits the mold better than, because if we're talking about point guards, like he's an actual point guard. Like he brings the ball up, he initiates the offense. So he should be on here. So I'm sorry I didn't mention him. Sorry.
And for me, my Laker homerness is saying Russ Westbrook should definitely be on this list. So so yeah, I think we got a pretty good list. I mean, there's some guys that are on the up and coming. I mean, Ja Morant.
I feel like
somebody who will probably be on this list pretty soon. Yeah. I think that De'Aaron Fox is somebody who's up and coming. If he wasn't in Sacramento, I think he would be getting, more play as well. Esteban, go ahead. I think you had some.
I think this year is going to be Lonzo's year, and he's going to show out. And I feel like he's going to have a huge year this year, make a leap in that point guard discussion for sure.
I mean, he has the right team around him, and then his brother is on up and coming as well. He's somebody who could not maybe on the list yet, but definitely in the next few years is somebody who could definitely be somebody we're talking about. But let's talk about just the guys that we feel like are the best point guard right now. We'll start with Esteban.
Oh, Steph. It's not even close for me. It's Steph. It's been Steph for quite some time for me. So, yeah.
So here's my thing with Steph. Steph hasn't shown to be able to carry his team without superstars on it. So that is one thing. Like, I mean, he didn't even make the playoffs this year. Mm-hmm. And I think that has to be taken into consideration, right? If you're saying he's the best point guard in the league, he puts up numbers, but is he affecting his team in a way that's getting them past the finish line, right? You got to look at guys like Luka, the guys like Dame, who are actually taking them at least to the playoffs. So, that's just an argument against Steph, I would have to say.
That's fair.
I just love seeing how sad Esteban's face was.
It's not sad. It's just.
Oh my God, it hurts.
The team that Steph had this year without and leading him to a play-in tournament type of thing, which I don't know if they were the 9th seed or the 8th seed.
No, I think they were right. They were.
They were 9th.
They played the Lakers, right? So the Lakers were 7. So I think they were actually the 10th seed. So the Lakers
7, 10, 9, 8,
and then 9-8. Yeah. Ja Morant played.
Dame.
Memphis played.
Yeah.
Wait, Memphis played Portland this year? I feel like that was
I felt like that was last year.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. I feel like it was last year too. It's all been a blur, so I don't really know.
Yeah.
I feel like Portland didn't play in the play-in tournament this year. Hold on.
They were. I think they were in the play-in tournament. I think they lost the play-in tournament as well.
All right.
Anyhow.
I'm bringing up standings right now. Hold on.
Well, anyways, I
got it. Portland was 6. All right.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Lakers were 7th. Memphis was 8. Golden State was 9. San Antonio was 10. So it was Memphis, San Antonio, and that is right because I remember DeRozan actually he had an okay game. Like he looked all right in this plan. I kind of wanted to see him get in.
I just think that Steph's team this year was. I mean,
absolute
trash. They were depending on what's his name, JTA, when he dove out of bounds and kind of hurt himself. They were like, "Oh my God, what are we going to do without JTA?" And it's like,
right.
Juan Toscano Anderson, what are we talking about right now, bro?
Did he have you know what I mean? Does he have that much better team than Dame did?
Yes.
Oh, no, Dame has a better team.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, what I'm saying, like, that much better to where Dame actually got into the playoffs, right? So CJ McCollum obviously is a better player, but then I would say Kelly Oubre and I always forget the Canada guy. Wiggins and Draymond, and these guys are still serviceable players. I don't know if it's that much better than what Dame was working with.
Serviceable, but you still got Robertson. Yeah. You still got Robert Covington, which is probably on par with Kelly Oubre. You've also got Norman Powell, who they traded for and just paid max money, who's also on par with Wiggins. So then you go to their bench.
I think it's better than Wiggins.
You think
Norman Powell's better than Wiggins?
Yeah,
I mean, what I'm saying is, I think you're right as far as the Portland Trailblazers were better as a better team, but Dame also took them to where they didn't need to be in a play-in situation, right?
And Steph was injured for a lot of the beginning of the season too. You know what I mean? So like that really hurt their record as well. Because didn't he take that fall? Like he landed hard on his ass or something like that.
Yeah.
I just think Dame has done more with less. But keep going. Let's keep going. Yeah. So, anyways, Brandon, it's on you. Are you saying CP3 or are you going to go with
I mean, is that even a question? If we're talking about the point guard position, right? Like, we're not saying who's the best player in the NBA. We're saying who's the best at the point guard position.
Right.
Who's better than Chris Paul? And for Sunil's point, who wants to talk about guys that take their teams into things? He took the Thunder to the playoffs. Like, every team he's on goes to the playoffs. He takes them there.
Every team he's on.
That's fine. That's fine.
No. They go just far enough. Huh?
But he gets them there. You know who doesn't get their team there every time? Curry. So we can't say Curry's the best point guard. I mean, so yeah, let's just write that off.
Yeah. For me, I think Luka could be in there. I think Trey's going to be there pretty soon, but I'm going with Dame. I think Dame has always been extremely he's willed that team to the playoffs every single year. He's been on there, and they've never had a chance. They've never given him somebody that could actually unlock where he can feel like he has another wingman that's going to be able to just ball out the way that he balls out. Yet, series after series after series, he is constantly there. They're competing. He's the only person you really got to pay attention to on that team, and he still, puts up ridiculous numbers every single time. Him and Steph, I think, both changed the game with their shooting prowess. And my thing is, if Dame switched roles and he was drafted to Golden State and Curry was drafted to Portland, I think Dame would have the same type of hoopla as Steph would, just because he could do everything the same and he would have the chips because of all the talent that he had around him. So to me, that's why I put Dame. I just think he has that mentality that he's more clutch than any of the point guards we just talked about. And Esteban, you were talking about clutch gene was your most important gene, yet they named it Dame time, right? He hits pretty much every single clutch shot. And
that's not even a question. Dame's shots and his clutch bag and all. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous.
So I'm going with Dame. So because it's my show, it's Dame, it's Harden, it's LeBron, it's Giannis, and it's Embiid. That is the So Real Sports Talk All NBA first team.
I feel like that was hella biased.
Oh man. Was there anything else that this sparked your brain about that you guys wanted to talk about?
Oh, I had a totally different All NBA team than like the first players or whatever, the ones that we ranked the top.
All right, you give your list. We'll give you guys some time. The B&E. We're gonna go with the E's.
Did you do
top
that?
5.
No, I did not do that.
Oh, okay.
You're talking about just like top 5 All NBA team. I should have did it because you kept texting me about it. I should have picked up on that.
Let's just go with you guys. So obviously, I named mine. It's Dame, Harden, LeBron, Giannis, and Embiid. What is your 5, Esteban, at each position?
So for All NBA, they do guard, forward, center, not point guard, shooting guard.
Weird.
No, I'm saying no. I'm talking about for the All NBA, like
correct.
The
but this
awards.
Is not the end. Right. This is So Real Sports Talk.
Right. No, I'm saying that's why I thought we were gonna do. That's why I said.
All right. Okay, let's do your point guard, shooting guard, and then we'll do just All NBA. All right. Look, I'm for the people. I'm for the kids, so we'll do that.
So I'll do Curry, George, Braun, Giannis, and Jokic.
Wow, he put
George.
Who was Paul George?
Oh my!
Over what?
Over Harden?
For your 2?
Yes.
Yeah, you said.
Yeah.
Oh,
you didn't even talk about him on. We thought you picked Harden. You said Harden.
See, this is what I deal with all the time.
Saying.
Just random fucking
he should. Hey, Paul George this year showed way more than Harden has in any of his years.
But Esteban, when we said who's the best 2 guard, you said James Harden.
James Harden so fast.
But this season, I think it's going to be Paul George.
Oh, so we're talking about the upcoming season now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That was mine for the upcoming season.
Were we talking about seasons past this whole time? I thought we were talking about this upcoming season.
I was talking about the season that just happened.
I was talking about like right now. Yeah, season that just happened, like right now.
I would have picked Clay if we were talking about the season that just happened.
That's why I'm making fun of you.
I don't know what
I haven't even put Levine on my list.
Oh my God.
Brandon, we just think you're that crazy. So we're just like, this is on for the par with how Brandon is. Like, just pick whatever.
Oh my God. I thought we were talking about this new season coming up. Holy shit.
Yo, but before Amin the Dream got a question for us. Is Harden the top 5 player in the NBA? I mean, I could already tell you these guys are going to say no, but I'll let them tell you this themselves.
No.
No, he's not. I got nah.
Are we gonna name top 5? Go ahead.
We'll name after, but you go with your list first.
Oh, my list of from what we just did. It's
sure.
Paul Thompson, even though he didn't play last year. I didn't know.
It's after this year. It's all good.
Paul Thompson. He didn't just not play this year. He didn't play last year.
I thought we were talking about this year.
No, but I'm just saying, like, it's not just this year he didn't play. He didn't play last year either. Yo, but you know what? I
hope it's one giant year though.
Okay. I had Jamal Crawford on my list too, bro. He's not in the league right now, but you know, he's somebody who can make it.
Oh my God. So stupid. Let me get my list.
Right, go ahead.
Chris Paul, Klay Thompson, Kawhi Leonard, Giannis, and Jokic.
Yo, half his team isn't even playing.
What are you talking about? First of all, y'all bad at math. 2 out of 5 is not half. All right?
It's almost half your team.
Kawhi played. He just didn't play in the playoffs.
Oh, and
he played the first round.
The most? That's crazy. Dummy.
Cool. All right, so Esteban, I know you had a list of all NBA. Let's talk about it.
I did. I had my first team. Let me get this up real quick. My first team All NBA for this year coming up was Luka, Curry, KD, Giannis, and Jokic.
Luka. I mean, why don't you say it faster next time?
Luka.
Okay. Luka Doncic, Steph Curry,
right?
Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and I don't know. Oh, Nikola Jokic.
And Jokic?
Okay. Yeah.
Who you got?
I'm gonna go with. I like everything that he said. Luka, Curry, but I'm gonna go LeBron, Giannis, Jokic.
Yeah, hey, LeBron's on that revenge season this year.
It might be kind of scary.
Right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, and I kind of feel like he looked at the rest of the playoffs because I feel like LeBron's one of those players that's just like, am I going to be able to win it this year, right? And he looked at it and was like, probably not. So he's like, I'm just going to go ahead and sit the rest of this out, and that's why the Suns loss probably happened. If we're going to talk about it in my heart of hearts, and so
huh? Your heart is ice cold, bro.
It is ice cold. But I'm a realist, though, right? And so, like, I get it. I feel like if he really wanted to win that series, he probably could have. And he just was like, nah, it's probably not going to happen for me this year. So I'll go ahead and sit out. And now he's like, no, everybody's doubting me. He's back. He's got Russ to help him out through the regular season because we know that AD doesn't have that heart. You know who does play with passion and emotion every fucking second of the game is Russell Westbrook.
Just remember who came first with that take that everybody just shat on, and now all of a sudden every NBA analyst, everybody with the blue check mark is like, you know what's going to be great about Russ? He's going to be really good for the regular season for LeBron.
Hey, for real. After you said that shit, after you said that, I was like, everybody started saying that. I was like, huh? Oh.
And also on that same show, I talked about Ben Simmons to the Golden State Warriors, and then all of a sudden, everybody was like, you know who Ben Simmons really reminds me of? Draymond Green. And like, maybe he should go.
That's been there.
All right, so my All-NBA team, Ice Trae.
First?
Luka.
Wow.
LeBron, Giannis, AD. I think AD is coming back with a vengeance right now. Everybody is talking mess about him. He is in the lab, and I think he comes back with the revenge tour because I think this got to be the year for the Lakers if they don't go out there and handle business with all these moves that they made. Melo's there, all these guys are there. They all are there for a reason, which is to win a chip. I think AD comes back, stays healthy the whole season, and yeah, man, I think the Lakers have 2 people on the All-NBA team this year.
Timestamp this because AD is going to play the 5 for a lot of the year this year with Russ at the 1 and those young kids coming at the 2s and 3s. So yeah, AD's going to play the 5 a lot.
Just know that in a couple weeks from now, all these blue check marks are going to be saying the same thing because they watch this show and they know what's up. Nick Wright, I know you're watching. Chris Broussard, I know you're watching. Max Kellerman, I know you're watching. So when we see you guys on First Take and FS1 and all that kind of stuff, just know you saw it first on So Real Sports Talk TV. I'll give you guys the last word.
I like that. Go. Okay, who's top 5? Go ahead. Top 5 right now in the NBA.
Oh,
right now,
top 5 right now in the NBA. Off the top of the dome. Giannis, LeBron. I don't want to say him. Oh, KD, Luka. Oh, Kawhi.
Okay.
What about you, Esteban?
Curry, Giannis, KD, Bron, and Luka.
Hey, Esteban likes Curry so much. I think this boy's Indian, baby. So
that's my guy. That's my guy.
Actually, can I swap Curry for KD? Because I do like.
No.
You can do whatever. It's your list, bro.
You're only doing it out of spite because you don't like KD.
I know it is.
Yeah,
and I saw that interview, and it's even worse. Sorry, go ahead.
My list is Giannis, KD, Bron, Luka, Dame.
I knew he was gonna say Dame. I was waiting for it. I was like,
I like that you're a Dame truther. I don't think we have enough of those for real.
Look, I just think when we talk about the mentality that we're looking for, we give Giannis all these props, right? Dame is the same way in a littler body and in a position that just doesn't have that much success. I don't even know who's running that team. They just keep bringing him broken part after broken part after broken part, and he doesn't complain. He just goes out there, balls out, takes the team to where he needs to take them. And to me, I got a lot of respect for guys like that. I think he has that Mamba mentality that I always look for in my favorite players. And to me, Dame reminds me a lot of how Allen Iverson was. If circumstances were different, he would go down as the greatest player of all time. I think that Dame is the same type of way where if circumstances were different, it wouldn't even be a conversation of who's the best point guard. I think he would be out of this world if he was on a better team and was winning chips and stuff like that.
That's so crazy to me too, because and I feel it, like the mentality is there, but just as far as like the percentages and stuff and the way he shoots and how much he scores and stuff like that, it's like, it's not really, he's a great shooter. I'm not saying he's a great shooter.
He has to. There's nothing else. Like, he doesn't have any kind of consistency from any other position on the floor. CJ McCollum is his best option. And where would we rank CJ McCollum in the list of top NBA players? He's not top 15. He's not top 20, I would say.
He's top 25.
Okay, so his best help is a top 25 player. List all the other point guards we talked about. Who is their best help? They're all like top 10.
Is Draymond top 10, top 15?
No.
Draymond's not, right?
No.
Is Clay coming off Clay when he was in his prime?
Yeah,
he's top 15?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, two-way player, lights out shooter. He has how many records for shooting and defense?
No, yeah, that's top 15. That's not bad.
I feel like Dame's biggest problem, which is also like his biggest strength, right? Like, he should have asked for a trade, right? Like, I get it, him and CJ are close, but they're so similar in stature and size in the way they play, right? Like, in the way they get buckets is jump shooting, breaking down the defense, getting into the lane. and trying to score that way, and neither of them really played defense, right? Like maybe Dame would play a little bit more if he didn't have to carry such a big scoring load, but I mean the same could be said for CJ too, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The organization failed him, and they should have got somebody next to him. They should have tried to get Drew Holiday before, like it should have been Drew next to Dame, somebody that can cover for him, like Curry has Thompson to cover for him, right? Like, and that's how they messed it up for Dame. And
can you imagine how CJ would have fit on that Pelicans team? I think that would have made them way better too.
Yeah, because they would have had.
Oh, that's no kind. I don't know about that. That's no kind of defense. Like zero defense.
And that's what happened with Ingram, right? Like when he was in LA for a hot minute, he was playing defense. Like
but he goes somewhere, he gets paid. He gets paid to get buckets. He doesn't get paid to.
That's what I'm saying. I think a lot of these guys have to change up for the position that they're in. That's why I'm saying I think there's an aspect of Dame that we just aren't able to see because of the position he's in. Like out of all of those point guards that we named, he's never played with the type of talent that any of those other guys have when they built their name, right? He's never had a sidekick like Chris Paul's had sidekicks when he was building his, name. When Steph Curry was building his name, Dame's never played with somebody as good as, Clay or Kevin Durant or all these kind of things. Like we never seen him in that opportunity. So when if he ever gets that opportunity, I think we see a different Dame and everybody would have a different take on how good he is because he's been doing all of this without a top 15, top 10 player, and everybody else on the list has played with those type of talents.
But that's kind of his fault, though, right? Because he, like you said, Chris Paul has had great sidekicks. Chris Paul asked for some of the moves that he's made, right? You know what I mean? Like he's asked to go to these teams. He's asked for trades to happen. Right. Not saying that Dame should have asked to get traded, but he probably should have said, hey, yeah, let's go ahead and trade CJ. Right, but he's always backed up having CJ. He's always backed up having Terry Stotts as his coach.
I think that's part of that.
Which we appreciate.
That's part of that loyalty.
We love. And we love it. But it's also probably what's kind of hurt his career.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's the best GM or the best business person as far as his business in the NBA as far as that. But he's a great business person because he's made a lot of money in the NBA. But what I'm saying is that like, regardless of why, it hasn't happened. Which is why I give him that benefit of the doubt and elevate him more because he's still in the conversation without having nearly the talent as all these other guys. So to me, that makes him,
so for me, it's like if you go back and look at who they beat in the playoffs, what surprise was there? Was it surprising that they beat OKC in the playoffs?
Yeah, I think with that squad that they had, for sure.
That one
they
was
had
a little
PG-13. They had Russ. They had
we know PG-13 flamed out. Russ isn't a good decision maker down the.
See, now you're nitpicking because we're just talking about the talent. The guys that he played against were all top 15 players. There was nobody
nitpicking, bro. You need to stop this.
Look, I know you, the Indian. Like, hey, I can't. I need to not like Steph Curry.
I'm just saying, it's not
Steph
like
Curry.
It wasn't the most surprising thing that they beat OKC to me. They beat OKC in the playoff series, or that they beat the Rockets that year that he sent them home with when they had Dwight Howard.
Yeah, they also had
Dame
Harden,
right?
They also had James Harden.
When have you seen James Harden playing the playoffs and do really well?
Talking about we're talking about talents versus what he had. The fact that he's winning these things with the talent that he has on his team is you're proving my point. He's elevating guys more than anybody else. Are you telling me Steph with that team that Dame has is beating these teams? I don't know. I can't definitively say that he does. But I've seen Dame do it. So that's why I put him, in that level. He shouldn't beat a team that has Dwight Howard and James Harden with the squad that he has. He shouldn't beat a team that has Russ and PG-13 that with the squad that he has. But he's done both of those things.
No, I think what we have to ask though, right? Like, so yeah, regular season dudes like James Harden is really good, right? Playoff James Harden is not the same guy, right? Like dudes that are really good elevate themselves in the playoffs. They go up another level, right?
Which Dame does.
Dame does. Yeah, no. Dame does. I think Curry also does it. So when you're saying like, could Curry in the place of Dame have still been able to beat those same teams? I think, yeah, because Curry doesn't choke in the playoffs, right? Like we seen Harden choke in the playoffs. His team would have lost had they not sat him and played who they played, Gerald Green,
what's that tall dude's
Josh Smith. When they beat the Clippers. Yeah. Like they had to sit Harden, who was their best player, in order to facilitate a comeback. Because
I see where it's at,
does not show up.
But you can't tell me that wasn't a surprising victory, that the Rockets were ranked much higher than the Blazers. They were the favorites to win that series, regardless of, the notches on Harden or whatnot.
Those were surprised. They're not good playoff players.
Right. On paper, for sure. Like, on paper, there's a lot of teams that are better than the Blazers.
And like I said, I haven't seen Steph without Hall of Famers on his squad have the same success that Dame has had. That's all I'm saying. I haven't seen it. So to me, I'm just going by what I've seen. Now, does that mean it can't happen? I don't know. I think that if Dame had Clay, Draymond, and Kevin Durant, I think they're not losing to LeBron.
It's insane what organization, how much of an impact the organization that you're drafted to has on the kind of trajectory your career is going to go, right? I mean, it's
look at even a guy
totally different things.
If CP3 didn't get vetoed on that trade to go to the Lakers, what kind of career would CP3 have with Kobe and all that kind of stuff?
That would have been terrible. Him and Kobe on the same, that would have never worked. I'm sorry. You guys can keep, you Laker fans can keep going to that as your
Russ is not going to work this year? Russ is not going to work this year? Is that what you're saying?
He's not.
It would have been the same thing.
First of all, Russ is playing with an unselfish player in LeBron, whereas CP would have been playing with a selfish-ass player in Kobe, who takes 50 shots to get
the point guard. He's the unselfish
Great job,
player.
Kobe.
He'd be playing with how Devin Booker is. What are you talking about right now? Anyways, I understand what's going on. Look, we went an hour and 11 minutes, and we haven't plugged Brandon's product, Haterade, sold by Brandon Campbell. Comes in all flavors. You can find it on his website. You can also find it at any 7-Eleven. You can find it at Vallarta. I just heard he just got a deal with Vallarta. Food for Less. Definitely have them in the shelves. And then anywhere else that's being sold right now, Brandon? I think AM/PM.
Yeah, AM/PM, you can definitely get it there.
Do you get pretty straws with them too? That's your drinking.
Man, it's just ugly straws because it's all hate. There's nothing pretty about it.
Beautiful straws.
It doesn't even taste good because you got to have that crunch face. You saw what took a sip. He's like, what?
What I love is how much haters you guys are sitting over there drinking. Look at you hating on me right now.
Hey, there's a difference between hate and truth tellers.
Yeah, that's what I've been telling the whole time is truth. Hate.
I love it. Well, hey, for everybody that's out there watching, Esteban and Brandon are back on the airs. When are you guys doing your podcast now?
They come out every Sunday. We usually do them on Fridays, but I don't put them out until Sunday because I'm so busy.
We gotta cycle through them and make sure that they're okay.
So the handle right there, B_E__ podcast. Go find that on Instagram. That's where they are most active and posting up their episodes. Please go follow, like, subscribe them. If you haven't yet, follow, like, subscribe to my channel. These guys are here every so often. We're always talking NBA. It's always going to be fun. Thank you, Esteban. Thank you, Brandon, for coming on. And guys,
appreciate you.
Have a good night and stay tuned.